Nyinyi kama viongozi wa Linda Mwananchi tunataka kuwaonya. Kama mnajua mnachezea wa Kenya na hizi vitu mnafanya.
Politics is a dirty game, but more importantly, politics is a strategic game.
We are here to declare war.
The biggest mistake that you can make is to believe what you see is what is really happening.
What if Sifuna stood and say, Mzee Kalonzo?
Hapo ndio utanyoroshwa hii town kama mwendazimu.
Itakuwa ngumu.
Sometimes your biggest enemy is not really your enemy. Sometimes your loudest critic is really actually not your critic.
Atakunyorosha, atakwambia utajua sisi sio Sifuna.
And after investigating the growing fallout between Calib Amisi and the Linda Mwananchi team,
nimetoa onyo kwamba msipoenda hii barabara nitaanzisha vuguvugu lingine.
I think I may have discovered something that many people are actually missing.
Kuanzia tarehe 11 August tuna launch people's movement.
Calib Amisi is a Trojan horse. Calib Amisi is what you'd call a distraction, a paid actor. Let me explain. If you love this kind of content, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Now let's get to the video.
Amisi Calib, tena nakuona tena leo unasema ati unataka sijui nani afanye nini. Ati akienda kwa Mnyoro. Si wewe usimame president sasa basi.
For the last several weeks, one thing has become very clear. Calib Amisi has been the loudest critic of the broader united opposition.
Who told you united opposition will be united up to the ballot? Who told you?
Every opportunity that he gets, he questions the alliance. He especially attacks Rigathi Gachagua. He repeatedly calls him Mkabila, that is a tribal politician.
Sasa uwezi toka kwa William Ruto ati unaenda kwa Munyoro. Hapa tutakuambia bwana kichwa yako sio timamu. Sawa. Kama unatoa William, weka mtu ambaye anakaa mzuri.
He urges the united opposition that they should never depend on Rigathi Gachagua if they want to build a better Kenya.
Mimi nimeishi saboti ambaye haina ukabila, alafu nirudishe kwa mtu ambaye ako na ukabila. Na unaona mtu anaongea ukabila asubuhi hadi jioni.
To most people, this looks like a rebellion. It looks like Calib Amisi is actually fighting Sifuna. It looks like he's trying to divide the Linda Mwananchi.
Wacha kwenda kwa Munyoro. That is not the alternative of this country.
Many supporters have even called him a government mole.
Unaendosi Sifuna at the same time, mutaki Sifuna ashikane mkono na kina Kalonzo Musyoka. Uko sure unapenda Sifuna we Calib Amisi?
Others believe that he's secretly helping William Ruto.
We know there are people in Linda Mwananchi who are cutting deals with the Ruto.
But after looking carefully at everything that has happened, I've arrived at a completely different conclusion.
Clearly, Edwin Sifuna is the best student from the Raila Odinga's School of Politics.
I believe that Edwin Sifuna may be doing exactly what Raila Odinga always did, always have a backup plan.
Raila will not go into anything without an exit strategy.
Think about it. Paul Mwangi, one of Raila Odinga's closest lawyers, once revealed something very interesting. He said that Edwin Sifuna was always Raila's backup plan.
He had an exit strategy.
What was the exit strategy?
The exit strategy was the people who were fighting it.
Sifuna's side?
Yes. That was his exit strategy.
If the agreement between Raila Odinga and William Ruto failed, Raila Odinga would simply go back to the political vehicle that Sifuna had already built.
What he felt then was that they were taking the power away from him. Because if they commit him to the corporation, by the time they got to sit on the table, he had nothing. Because he had then weakened his exit strategy. He needed his exit strategy alive and strong before he goes for negotiation.
That means Raila Odinga never entered any negotiations without having another option. That was classic Raila politics. Always negotiate from a position of strength. Never depend on only one road. Now, I want you to ask yourself, who is probably the best student to ever graduate from Raila Odinga's School of Politics? Many people would say that is Edwin Sifuna.
People are saying he's a new face of Baba. Do you believe he's more of Baba's reincarnation? Because now people start to feel...
As it stands now, he's the best student Baba had.
He watched Raila for years. He learned directly from him. So why wouldn't he copy the same strategy?
The militant side also used to work for Raila as an exit strategy.
Only this time, the negotiations are different. Instead of negotiating with William Ruto, he is negotiating with Rigathi Gachagua and the rest of the united opposition.
Watu wanaongea sana, wanasema msijiunge. Tunasema kuna tofauti ya kufanya kazi na kujiunga nao. Sijui kama mnanielewa. You can cooperate so that you are able to produce a good team yenye itashinda uchaguzi. And that conversation is not supposed to be an easy conversation.
That's why we are saying, Chaksi, those difficult conversations have to be had.
That is where my theory begins. I think there is actually two political functions happening inside Linda Mwananchi. The first function is the one that everyone sees. Sifuna, Babu Owino, James Orengo, the leaders who speak positively about working with Rigathi Gachagua.
Mheshimiwa Kang'ata, tutazungumza na viongozi wote katika upinzani ambao wanaamini one term.
They keep the coalition talks alive. They avoid unnecessary attacks. They keep the negotiations moving.
Mheshimiwa Rigiji, let me tell you, we are convinced that there is no other formula. Before God, there is no other formula other than a united ticket against William Ruto. So, whatever needs to be done, kama ni kusameana, waje basi tusameane tu.
Then there's a second function. This is where Calib Amisi comes in. His work is completely different. He constantly attacks the idea of working with Gachagua.
The reason why we put Sifuna was not for Gachagua to become president.
He keeps reminding Kenyans why they should be very cautious.
Wacha kwenda kwa Munyoro. That is not the alternative of this country. Na Kenya iko na wangwana wanaweza ongoza nchi.
He creates pressure. He creates distance.
Na wale ambao walipigia William Ruto kura na by mistake mmejipata kwa Linda Mwananchi, behave. You've just joined us in the street, behave. Mumezoea serikali, you are now back to the street with us, behave.
He makes sure that if negotiations collapse, there's already another political direction waiting.
We are not going to allow watu wamevalia ngozi ya kondoo kujificha ya one term.
Think about it. Calib Amisi has already launched the People's Renaissance Party. Why launch another political vehicle now?
Hii ndio chama peke yake Kenya mzima. Kuanzia kwa chairman hadi kwa secretary ni below 40 years.
Many people believe it is because he wants to compete with Sifuna. I don't think so. I think he's creating an assurance policy, a backup vehicle, exactly the way Raila always did it.
Leo nimepatana na kapicha kengine pale online. Osotsi, Raila, Sifuna na Calib Amisi. Nikajiuliza aje, hao watu wengine wote walikuwa wapi? Au watu wakiwekwa hivyo pamoja na baba? Ile kitu ninataka kuambia Edwin Sifuna, usichochwe that Calib anakuchukia ama anakusikililia wivu.
Now look at something even more interesting. Despite everything that Calib Amisi has been saying, has Sifuna ever attacked him? No. Has James Orengo ever condemned him? No. Has Babu Owino publicly fought him? No. None of the Linda Mwananchi principals have seriously gone after Calib Amisi. Not one.
Ati kila mtu anaimba tu one time ni mtu mzuri. Hapana. No, weka break. Wanataka kurudi. Wanataka kurudi mlango ya nyuma.
In fact, whenever Sifuna speaks about Calib Amisi, he speaks respectively.
Mheshimiwa Calib Amisi ameshuka?
Hajashuka. Kwa nini aseme ameshuka?
Tumeona debate sana.
Hajashuka
around him.
No, unajua unatakiwa ujue kwamba vuguvugu kubwa kama Linda Mwananchi, kwanza sisi ni wanademokrasia. Lazima watu waruhusiwe kutoa maoni yao na mitazamo yao.
Exactly how Raila Odinga used to treat people who looked controversial inside his own camp.
Kama Sifuna ameongea, hakuna haki ya kuongea.
Raila rarely destroyed his own options. He allowed different voices to exist. He understood their political value. Maybe Sifuna is doing the exact same thing.
Watu waruhusiwe kutoa maoni yao na mitazamo yao jinsi ambavyo wanaona.
Meanwhile, it is ordinary supporters who are fighting Calib Amisi every single day online. But the leaders remain quiet. The silence is interesting because if Calib Amisi was truly sabotaging Sifuna, why wouldn't Sifuna be the first person to stop him?
I don't know. I think by this time Sifuna should just announce that I'm vying for president. Kiumanie mbele, tafadhali ndugu.
Now imagine this scenario. The united opposition finally sits down. Negotiations begin. Gachagua, Kalonzo, Matiang'i, Karua, everyone is at the table. Suppose they refuse to support Sifuna for president. Suppose they insist that Sifuna can only be a deputy president. What happens then? Does Sifuna simply surrender, or does he already have another political vehicle waiting?
I said I can only allow him to deputize people like Maraga because I believe they are not tainted.
That is where Calib Amisi's role suddenly starts making sense. If negotiations fail, there's already another movement, there's already another party, there's already another political structure that is not tied to Gachagua, a structure that Sifuna could easily occupy if he needed.
Kiongozi, ukuje na uamue ukue flag bearer, tupeleke wewe kwa debe na uone utachaguliwa. We have 11 million young people on the voter register. And the only way those 11 young people will come out to vote is if we have our own on the ballot. Our own.
Remember, the country wants change. Almost everyone agrees on that. The disagreement is only about who should lead that change. One option is an older politician backed by Gachagua. Another option is a young leader like Edwin Sifuna. If Sifuna cannot secure the presidential ticket inside the coalition, he may still have another path.
The only party with all the youth in the leadership position, chama cha Gen Z, walisema hawana chama. Sasa wako na chama hawana. Chama iko haiko. Mulikuwa kadi, sasa mko? Mulikuwa kadi, sasa mko?
Now, let me be very clear. This is my personal political theory, and if I'm wrong, I don't choose to be right, because sometimes all you have to do is connect them dots. The silence from Linda Mwananchi leadership, Calib Amisi's constant attacks, the launch of People's Renaissance Party, and Raila Odinga's well-known habit of always having a backup plan.
Raila will not go into anything without an exit strategy.
This explanation makes more sense than the idea that everyone is simply fighting each other.
You quack like Ruto. You swim like Ruto. You walk like Ruto. Tuondoke kuja nyuma ukue choir master. Lakini you cannot be our leader.
Calib Amisi is now destroying Edwin Sifuna's future. As a matter of fact, I believe he's protecting it. While one team is negotiating with the united opposition, another team is quietly preparing for Plan B.
Sasa Kasonga anaenda mahindi. Anaenda endi. Bas.
Politics is really about what people say. It's about what people are doing when nobody is seen and when they are not talking. And if this theory is even partly true, then what we are witnessing is not division, it is strategy. But what do you think? Do you think that Calib Amisi is genuinely fighting Sifuna, or is he playing a role in a much bigger political plan? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe.